Hello, guys, and welcome to the first round of the candidate stage of the Antichess World Championship. I'm playing my dear friend from Germany, hall03. Um, I'm actually running a bit late, about 25 minutes. Yeah, it's entirely my fault, but I'm really thankful to my opponent for the sportsmanship and like the understanding he showed. Alright, so yeah, he doesn't play a very common response to e3, but yeah, um, let's see how I will perform. Yeah, so I believe g4 was necessary because he threatens knight f3 and knight d3 and also like bishop h3, knight g4, f5, etc. So now I kind of force him to take with one of the pieces. Of course, taking with the bishop is the worst. Is the worst move he would he would play in that position. That's actually tricky. Um, Now the problem is that I will eventually run into queen versus rook race, which is not like very favorable for me. What if I play c4 and then b3? Let's try it. Should I take with this pawn? Not sure. At least I made sure that I protect all my pieces. Oh, he has rook b8, which I missed. But I have rook h7, rook h8. Now rook b8 still like rook g7, rook g8. Wait, this is weird in my eyes. Queen a4. I would also say that I might be better in this position right now. Rook b1 coming. Hey, at least I sacked my bishop like in literally the last second. I also have e4, I guess. Rook b8, I suppose. Now rook b8 is a must, I believe. Yeah, rook e8. Yeah, wasn't necessary. Yeah, but the first game I have to admit. Oh, he plays this one. Yeah, I have played that many times against Chess Demon, and also I play this setup, this position against LAWC, my dear friend from the Netherlands in Amsterdam. Also, we played it like a week ago when we had a 10+10 match. That's interesting. I really didn't expect it. Queen g4 is the move, but knight f6. Knight f6 should be fine, I guess. Knight f6. I suppose there are no queen g4, bishop b5 intermediates because I can take on h2. Let's do this. What is Hall playing? Yeah, the first game was a bit weird, but he did pretty well. It was a close one. Yeah, now I'm not sure what he's supposed to play. I also saw that some d3, d4 ideas might happen, but I doubt it. I think he missed this one. Yeah, I must be winning this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he missed knight f1 there. Otherwise, taking on f2 and h1 would be a win for him. Let's try for now. And let's see what he plays against his opening. Alright, so he plays this rook a3 wine. I believe I have played this. Actually, Flo has played this against me, but I'm not really sure how I should play. I'm thinking about either b4 or c5 and then knight b5. Yeah, might be a bit risky though, because he'll take on h2 at the end, which gives him some advantage on the king side. Let's play the knight back and see what he's going to do. c6, knight c3 coming. Maybe d6 now, but let's remove cb. Okay, now king d8, I think. Wait, what is this? What is this? Oh, I'm defending this one twice, which I missed. Now he takes on e2 and he's totally fine. Easy. Hello Gorom sub. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Now c4, c5 and d4 is fine. Wait, what? Yeah, I managed to survive this somehow, but still, like, my position is not great at all. He's much better, I believe. If he plays d5, I will be very happy. Then I can comfortably promote to a king. Okay. This pawn structure here on the d file and the f file is kind of funny. Yeah, this should be a win for me somehow, I believe. Wait, what? What is this? Yeah, just too unfortunate for him. Hey, I also stream. Okay, my friend, I'm gonna check your channel after my match. Yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised that he started with c4 this game. I've never seen him play c4, to be honest. I have always seen him play a4, and I actually saw him that he has started recently playing c3 as a first move, which is kinda bad, not gonna lie. Especially if he faces a very strong opponent. c3 as a first move shouldn't work out. Actually, I expected queen a8 there. This is getting a bit tricky. Now if he moves the knight away, he would control the a6 square with the pawn on b5 and also the bishop. Wait, this doesn't look right. Yeah, I'm not sure, maybe I messed it up a bit. No, actually I'm winning. Yeah, I got a bit lucky. Rook b8 was the move. Um, instead of which one? After a b5, you mean, Tom? And actually, you are very welcome to the stream. Thank you for watching. Uh, actually, this is the moment you referred to. I think Rook b8 crossed my mind, but I think he would take on d5 at the end, and when I take on d2, he can just take back with the rook, so he would end up in a better position. But I'm gonna double check it later. Yeah, actually, I didn't get a very nice structure here, pawn structure on the king side. Maybe h4, but he can just take. So maybe I have to wait for him to take on e2 first. Maybe f4 is a move worth considering, so I can prevent knight e7 later, and also like, no, but then he has knight f6, attacking g4 and e4. Mm. Let's try h4, I don't know. Oh, he took. He took on e2, which is kind of weird. Maybe he missed taking on h4. Now at least he doesn't have knight f6. Let me actually speed up a bit. Just talking too much. Knight f3. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I panicked. Yeah, I'm in a worse position, definitely. But that's actually a bit weird. Knight c5. Now I really don't know what he should play. Yeah, again winning this one. I didn't deserve it. Sounds good. I did not check. I just thought it was correct. Yeah, yeah. It was like the first move. I also thought like it was my intuition, but then I could see this sequence. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Not gonna lie. Let's wait for him. Maybe a5 was a good move for him there. Yeah, now the sequence I see is bishop f7, queen h2, rook h2, king f7, rook h7, rook h7. If queen h5, then just rook h5. But now I see queen f3 actually, and I have to sack my king. Hello Roger, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Wait, what is this? I don't get it. Now queen e1 most likely, but then I will sack some pieces. The unfortunate thing is that d7 is double protected, so yeah, no, this really doesn't look right. Yeah, this must be a win. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a bit lucky in some of the games. Yeah, but he also sometimes misses some obvious stuff, which really like gets him into a worse position. I actually had this game in Amsterdam last year against Olaf. This yeah, one of the guys from the canteen there. He played this setup like f6 king f7 against me, which is kind of funny. Mm, not queen c2 maybe. Let's try this. I don't know. b5 doesn't work because of queen c7, b8, queen a7. Now maybe I assume he's gonna just push the h pawn, so he would just force me to take on c7 and then actually b5. Mm, what about queen b8? Now he can take my knight on b1 later, and I'm gonna lose my king. Queen a7, rook a7, ab, rook a3, knight a3. Maybe it's fine. Or what about ab? No, queen a7 looks the best to me. From all the possible moves I can play. Wait, another very lucky like escape. Yeah, another win. Wow. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that he misses some stuff. And also like most of the time he even has like more time on the clock. And even though he spends most of it, he still like blunders without any proper reason. Alright, let's see what we got. What about bishop g7? Isn't it just winning? I guess it is. Yeah, it's getting messy. I guess I can take with the queen, then bishop b2, queen c2, bishop h8, I take on g2. And I also like activate his other bishop. Yeah, this must be a win. Yeah. What should I try? I really like feel bad for him, so I'm just trying to give him some chances. What is this? I guess queen h5. And then I can maybe just take his king. If I take, he has g6, which is a bit irritating. So let's just take the king. Then queen takes. King takes on f2, and I threaten b4. But I don't know if he has something in between. Queen f7, just a4, I guess. Or maybe just b4 right away. So queen a2, rook a2, knight b4, rook a7, knight c2, rook b7, and I'm fine. Yeah, I kinda expected this, to be honest. Now he also like controls the b4 square with his bishop. Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on here. Yeah, I'm panicking. At least I can take on b1 with the other rook, and after he takes on a3 with the bishop, I can take with the a1 rook, and I'm fine. Rook f8. He has more pieces, but yeah, I don't know. Very complicated game. Wait, I'm winning. No, I'm not winning rook h1. Okay, first win for him, very nice. For your information, engine agreed with my rook b8, it was made in 10. Oh wow. That's weird. Now I have e5. Or maybe first I can try bishop h3. In case he takes with a piece different from the rook, like other than the rook, I just have e5. I guess I have rook a6 or rook a4. Okay, this is a win. Okay, guys, 9-1. Better than expected, to be honest. I really didn't expect to be that distant in terms of result. Like it wasn't even close. Maybe it wasn't his day. We actually initially agreed to play yesterday, but he informed me that he had a headache, so he wanted to reschedule for today. And yeah, maybe he's still recovering. Yeah, okay, guys. Yeah, as I started doing, um, I make a separate recording for the analysis because otherwise I start talking a lot and I just want to avoid that. Um, so yeah, I guess this is it for the stream, guys. If you have some questions, yeah, I'm really looking forward to answering. But yeah, I'll probably wait for like half a minute if someone wants to ask me something in the Twitch chat. And then I'm just gonna stop the stream and like I'm gonna start the recording with the analysis and then I'm gonna merge the videos and then I'm gonna upload the final video on YouTube. Okay, also like responding to me what. Well played, my friend. Thank you very much, Barton. It was a pleasure for me to like play this match and you guys respectively to have joined and like watching me. Yeah, I received, I got 2 new followers, which is kind of surprising. But I guess these guys, oh, actually, one of them I can see that one of them is still here, but the other one is gone. The one who said that he also streams. Maybe I'm gonna just check his channel off stream. Yeah, already, guys. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Yeah, see you on YouTube. Take care. I'm gonna play my second match with Sure. It's gonna be one of the most exciting ones, I assume, and I hope. Yeah, see you guys on YouTube, and also I hope that you like the match. Also, like I hope that you are gonna watch the analysis after I upload the final video on YouTube. But yeah, until then, guys, yeah, take care. Thank you very much for watching once more, and see you very soon. Bye bye. Hey guys, and welcome to the analysis part of the match against hall03. Yeah, so for those of you who watched the match, so how it finished, but for those of you who will watch on YouTube, yeah, welcome. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the games. Let's see how they were played, what moves were played, what I could do better. Yeah, basically this is why I do this analysis part together with playing the games. So yeah, this is the last game. I had the black pieces and hall03 opened with c4. Mm, Here I avoided playing my usual stuff b5 and d6 and I decided to go for the symmetrical variation instead. We have a4, queen c7, very typical move in this structure after second move a4. And here unfortunately Hall made a blunder which was in the game instantly. We have queen h2, rook h2, d5. Yeah, so I start sacrificing piece after piece. Nothing like very specific and important to commentate on. I just want to draw your attention to this moment where I found this so-called intermediate move. At some point I will explain what it means in my anti-chess education series, so make sure you follow it. But after knight d8, I don't have any room for my rook, and white threatens to take my pawn on h7, but luckily enough for me, I had this bishop e7 move, which is called an intermediate move. So yeah, basically white just kept taking my pieces, and eventually I gave away all my pieces. So yeah, this was the last game. Now this is the only game I lost in this match, which I was also winning. It turned out so, but yeah, Hall really like surprised me with some stuff he played, so I didn't have enough time to figure it out correctly. Yeah, here queen f3, it's like, yeah, when I look at it now, it really looks obvious. I threaten queen b7 to activate the white squared bishop. Yeah, if he takes here, I just take queen b7, and his next take is a defended piece. So when I take, he takes, and now his bishop will just take everything. Or if he decides to take on f2, I still take here, and if he takes my rook on h1, I have queen a7, rook a7, b4, knight b4, and then c4, and he has a double attack on the a2 pawn with the rook and the knight. But I didn't see queen f3 and played queen h5 instead. Here queen e8 is a mistake, actually a blunder, even a blunder. A bit surprising to me, to be honest, because I take his king on move 6, and the king is a very important piece in anti-chess, even though you can give it away. It's a very useful piece in the endgame, but that's another topic. Yeah, here I got panicked. I got like 5 seconds, whereas he had 31 seconds. And I actually dropped down to 1 second before I played knight e2. Yeah, here my intention was to play b4, but I wasn't sure what will happen after queen b1, rook b1 takes, like c5, d6, bishop h3, g5. Yeah, of course these pawns are just on the other side of the board, so they cannot be given away, but yeah, this is like 8 moves I had to calculate in a couple of seconds, which I couldn't do. And that's why I didn't play b4, even though, as I said, this was my intention. Also, I was a bit concerned about queen d2, actually b4, queen d2, here, like, I don't know, I really don't like this for white. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so I played c4, a3, and then I played knight a2. He took on b1. Yeah, here rook f8, very nice spot by him. Like, I really thought I was safe here, but after he played rook f8, I could see that I was still losing the game, unfortunately enough. And here after rook h1, I resign, of course, because after I take the rook, he has just h5, g5, d5, and that's game over. Okay, let's move on. Here he opened with his typical first move, which is a4. Yeah, I decided to try to throw him off book, so I played g5. In the previous matches, in the previous games where he played a4 and I had to choose a response for black, I would either go for b5 e5 or c5. But here, since I was already 7-0 up, I thought I could just afford to play everything and just potentially give him more chances. Because he's a very nice player. We played in Amsterdam 2 years ago. I saw how he plays. I really think he's a very nice player. But yeah, I really feel that in this match, for some reason, he didn't play his best openings. Maybe with the hope of trying to surprise me most of the time, but unfortunately for him, it didn't pay off. So yeah, while I was talking all this stuff, I went through the previous game, but I really don't think there was anything specific I had to mention. Yeah, he made a blunder on move 3 and I punished it right away. So yeah, maybe yeah, I just want to point out something here. Bishop g7 is a very like crucial move because I can see that after he takes on a7 with the rook and I capture back, when he takes with his queen on d7, all his next takes are on a defended piece. So I can comfortably take on b2 with the bishop, and wherever he takes, I can just take his queen as I did, like literally everywhere. Queen e8, bishop b2, queen b5, bishop h8, queen f1. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit lucky here because even though I take second here after he takes my rook on h8, I take his bishop, which is guarded by the king. So once he takes, now I'm free to give away all my pieces, to keep giving away my pieces basically. So yeah, this is like also a very typical structure in general. Also, you can guys have this position bishop h3, which is like the same blunder bishop g7, and after bishop b2 the white squared bishop takes either the black king or the white bishop, but they are both protected by the black's queen. So yeah, okay, I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, here I opened with c4, and here he went for the passive f6, which again, like, I don't know why he did it. Maybe if he played a weaker player, it would pay off, but yeah, unfortunately it didn't work against me. So here, like, yeah, but I have to confess that I'm really not aware of the right approach in this position. So I just tried to play some like standard stuff because this setup in the c4 is quite common. Like the rook here, also like when black pushes d5, they open up their white squared bishop. So yeah, I was just trying to stick to this usual stuff, and after bishop e2, knight takes, so here queen takes, bishop takes. And even though I threaten either to take the pawn on h7 or the pawn on c7, he has a lot of like trouble here on the king side on the black squares. And this bishop is like monstrous here, my dark squared bishop. So he had to like decide what to do. Um, Here queen c7, and again he has a free move to decide what to do because like the c7 pawn is not protected. So once I take it, it's again his move, and he has to decide what to do. He can see that I can either take these two pawns or the knight on b8. So he played b5, which kind of surprised me. Um, But here, like I expected, rook a7, a b, rook takes, knight takes, and here I would say I most likely have the edge, but it's not like a clear win. I can see that his bishop is pinned, but also I have the bishop pair. But of course I can easily sacrifice my dark squared bishop, and also like bishop g2 is a very useful move in this position. Yeah, the white squared bishop would totally dominate this diagonal here, the h8, h1, a8 diagonal. Like knight c6 wouldn't be concerning because I can just take with the pawn and then my bishop still remains on g2. But yeah, instead he took ba4, which is a massive blunder. It just loses the game for him on the spot. After queen e7, knight e7, rook a4, now his rook becomes a losing cannon here. So bishop g5, knight d4, bishop c4, b4, and yeah, here he just captured all my pieces. Alright, let's move on. Again, he opened up with a4, c5, again by me, and here he played c3. We also had another game where he played it, and it's actually the first time I have faced that, and I really didn't know what to do. So I just try to keep it solid, and not just like play too aggressively. Here, like I don't understand why he took my knight on g8. He could just take with the rook, king takes, rook takes, and I would most likely take with the rook. Maybe he was concerned about queen h5, rook a5, and here like some rook b5 ideas. But of course he can just get rid of my rook with knight h3. But here I actually think that queen f3 was the move he had to play, or queen b3. Let's just switch on the engine for a second and see what it suggests. Yeah, both moves, queen b3 or queen f3. The point is that the queen threatens to take my king on f7 and also activate my rook on the f file, and also like the more dangerous queen b7, where I protect my b7 pawn with my white squared bishop, but then there would be brutal threat where I just take all of his pieces on the white squares. So yeah, here I really had to decide what to do. Maybe b5 was the move, or maybe I had to go for rook h1 and just initialize a rook versus queen race, which in most cases favors the queen because it has more options. It can just take more pieces in more directions, whereas the rook just takes the pieces in a straightforward direction. But yeah, he just took the knight on g8, and now we witness a queen versus bishop race, which of course loses for the bishop. Like the bishop can just take the pieces only on one square, whereas the queen can take literally everything everywhere. So yeah, I just here the point is to take unprotected pieces so I can force him to keep taking my pieces with his bishop, and this is what actually happened in the game. And here after, queen f2 is very important here in my opinion, but I could also go for queen g1, bishop e8, queen e1, queen e1, rook h1, and now the queen, after queen h1, the queen is on this big diagonal, long diagonal, where I would give away all my pieces after b6. But I decided to play the other approach with queen f2, bishop e8, queen e1, and again the queen is on this diagonal right here. And here I just made a couple of safe moves, like b5. If he takes, I can just take first, and after he takes, he opens up his rook, and I can also see that his queen is really vulnerable here on this e1 h4 diagonal. Yeah, bishop a6, like getting rid of some unuseful pieces, and just I gain time and prepare rook h4. Like I have less pieces and also like less defended pieces. That's very important to emphasize on. So yeah, after rook h4, queen h4, bishop g7, I could see that he has a lot of pawns here that support each other, and yeah, his queen just takes my pieces in a straightforward direction. And I could also see that my second take is a defended piece, whereas his next take with the queen is also on a protected piece. So after queen a7, rook a7, whatever he takes with on d2, I just take on a6, which is protected by his rook, and I won the game. Let's move further. Yeah, here I was basically experimenting. I opened up with knight h3, and he played a5. Again, like surprising to me, I have to say. But also, like I feel that he tried to get some reversed a4 position, but the point is that he's black, so he would be one move behind if he achieved such a position. Yeah, here I really have to look into what piece it's better to take with, because I have always wondered if it's better to take with the knight or the bishop. I have played similar positions and structures like this tons of times, and I like take with both pieces because I think both are like decent, and there's none of them is a wrong choice. But yeah, since Stockfish suggests and believes that knight takes is better, then maybe white just gets into a better position at some point in the long term. Yeah, here I missed d6 where he doubles my pawns on the h file. Here queen e7, I don't think he has to get rid of his queen that early. Here, yeah, I really took all my time considering and calculating what to do. Here, to be honest, I expected queen h4. But if he had taken, I would play bishop h3. You would ask, what is this move? It's not logical. Well, I see that he controls the d7 square with the king and the knight. And also after like f5, I hit the h7 pawn and he can't do anything about it. There's also like no intermediates with bishop g7 if my rook was on a1. Yeah, luckily enough for me, my rook is on a2. So there is no intermediate in this case. But instead he took on e2, I took with the king, knight d7, b4, pinning the bishop, and like trying to also open up this diagonal for my queen and gain some space. h5. I played knight d2, which is like a very human move, I would say. Like you just develop the knight. Of course, I see that I will over control the e4 square. Yeah, and I saw knight f6, but I was like really low on time, so I was wondering what to do. Actually, if we look at the engine, it shows mate in 14 for white if white plays king e3, but I can't play this move with 2 seconds on the clock. But also I'm really not sure if I can play this move at all, even if I had way more time. It's because basically after h5 and king e3, I can see knight h6. So like I'm free to take the pawn, and yeah, maybe like the rook is very vulnerable here, and also like queen h6. If black takes with the bishop, then also the bishop will hit my king. So maybe yeah, that's the point. But yeah, it's really not human in my opinion to play king e3 here. Anyways, yeah, so I played knight d2, knight f6, king f3. I don't know what to say. I just decided to move my queen away from this diagonal and keep it safe. Yeah, knight e4. Yeah, of course it's a blunder, and also in my eyes it's a mistake because he can always sacrifice his knight, but he rushes it, um, which is not necessary. I don't see the point why he did that. And also he like simplifies, which helps me because I know what I should play. I don't have to calculate anything. So I will potentially gain some time back on the clock. So yeah, pawn takes knight c5, which really, like, I don't know, really surprised me. Yeah, knight b1. I was also thinking about knight f3 if I have to be honest, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, knight b1, bishop h6, which wasn't necessary again. Like he plays his bishop on this open diagonal here, and after f4, I think he missed rook g1, bishop h2, rook g4, h5, and here I just managed to sack everything, and I won the game. Yeah, so yeah, again he opened with c4, so basically he was like exchanging and changing his openings between c4 and a4, but more or less we get similar positions, and even like we may transpose in certain cases. Yeah, queen d7. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it, and but like I really think it's favorable for me. So yeah, king d7 and now a4, which is a weird move because like he has this advanced pawn right here on b5, and he like opens his queen side with a4, which I really don't see the idea behind because like I am pretty close with my king to the queen side and this vulnerable part right here, and also like with a4 he can't afford to push b6 because simply I will take with the c pawn and then I threaten b5 to open up his rook. But if you look at the engine, it suggests rook g1, which I don't think a human can find without prior preparation, I would say. But if I happened to face rook g1, I would probably just play g6. Just keep it simple. Or maybe g5, bishop g7, and knight h6, or knight f6 respectively. Yeah, knight f6 is better because otherwise there is f4 now. Of course I have f5, but then maybe king f2, king f3 march might be dangerous. But so he played a4, I played d5, I'm threatening d4. Also like I open up his bishop and also I will activate his knight if I can call it so. So b6, which I told you guys just a couple of seconds ago, he really can't afford to play b6 after a4. So c takes, and now he has a lot of problems. Like his rook is on the semi-opened a file, and also like his bishop is open all the way on this f1 a6 diagonal. So after b5 I really should win the game at first sight, and that's what also like actually happened in the game. Yeah, here rook c8, luckily enough for me. Yeah, some rook race, and with perfect play I managed to win the game. Here, very interesting, I tried a4 myself. I really wanted to see how he will react to his own opening. So let's see what happened. Yeah, c4, rook a3. I didn't expect rook a3 to be honest. I would expect rook h6, which of course is a personal preference what to play. Also, rook a4 is a move here, is an option. Yeah, here I was wondering what to do. I just decided to, and yeah, I was wondering what to do, if I should push c5 or b4 or just let him take on a3, which is usually a bad structure to have your bishop to hit your pawn on the edge here. So I decided to play my knight back on b1, and terribly for my time management, I used all of my time on the clock. I used more than a minute for this move, so I had to play with a couple of seconds on the clock. Yeah, here like 97. Yeah, he decided to keep the bishop, but I don't think it was good to do so in this setup, in this position, because like now 97 looks very passive to me. Like he really closes his queen and bishop, so eventually he can't gain any space on either side of the board. So I very precisely punished this inaccuracy with c5, because I saw that I pinned his bishop. Of course, I saw c6. He prepares queen b6 to remove this pin, but right now I see that he controls the d5 square with too many pieces. So I just got use of that by playing knight to c3. So he played queen b6, very like natural move, but according to the engine, it's a blunder. And I can somewhat agree with it because, as I told you guys, this like potential threat and like this over control of the d5 square turns out to be very troublesome for black. Instead, here the engine suggests queen a5, which makes sense because black would take my knight on c3 and just remove this threat for the time being. But yeah, after queen b6, pawn takes, knight a6. Smart move, I would say. It pins my bishop, but unfortunately I have b4, and after b4 I win the game on the spot. Here g4 is a crucial move because I make space for my bishop. If for example I push b7, let's say something, just knight e1, and now there is no escape from knight to g2. But at g4, bishop g2, and here unfortunately I didn't have enough time, and I almost instantly played f4, which is a big blunder because after knight f4 I can't afford to make him keep taking my pieces, because now the e2 pawn is double guarded by my both knights. So yeah, I decided to escape from this and played knight d5, but yeah, of course, he first takes the pawn on e2, and now I have to capture back. But if he had taken, let's say, with the c pawn on d5, I just have knight f3, knight e2, knight e1, something. Yeah, and I can just sacrifice some more pieces. But yeah, he very accurately took my pawn on e2 first. And now actually the engine even shows mate for black, which is very interesting. Now bishop a3. Yeah, he had a very nice intermediate of knight c8, bishop f8, knight b6, bishop g7, and I would take all his pieces with my bishop, and probably he would also involve my knight at some point. But instead, very like surprisingly to me, he played knight f5. So I took, and now he has to take my bishop on a3, f6, rook c1, d4. He's a lot better here, even though he has this terrible pawn structure. He has these two pairs of double pawns, but the thing is, his rook is a lot better than my knight because he can easily punish my knight with all these pawns here, whereas his rook is like very far behind from, like very far away from my pawns, so it can literally conquer the open g file at some point, or even like king e7, make space for it on the back rank and just decide where to play it. So yeah, that's why he's better. Here I tried to create a threat with b7, and then my my goal was to promote to a king and just pin his rook on the back rank, but of course he played king d8. And in certain positions, like here knight promotion would be great because I attack the d7 pawn and there is no escape from the king. But here the difference is that we have the c6 pawn, and if I promote to a knight, he can just push the d pawn, and then I have to take the c pawn, and of course I would lose the game. So I didn't like promote, of course. I can't promote to anything right now. So I decided to play knight to c3 with the hope of playing either knight d5 or knight b5, and then eventually promote to a knight, and then just remain with this h pawn. And here, yeah, I said I would be very happy if he pushes the d pawn, because this really allows me to promote to a king now. There is no more threats after my promotion, and that's what exactly he did, and I really think that d5 was a bad move by him. Yeah, here like he shouldn't have sacked his king. Yeah, but the engine suggests king e7. Come on, who plays this? Like he intentionally wants to hit my king, which gives me a tempi here. Yeah, but I think actually he has to sacrifice. Yeah, maybe this is winning, but yeah, the point is, yeah, here he shouldn't have played king c8. It really simplifies, and here he has to sacrifice his rook. And yeah, he has to sacrifice it on the d pawn. If he decided to sacrifice it on the h pawn, this would be suicidal, because now there is no way he can stop rook promotion. Yeah, and here he didn't even push d4, and he had plenty of time to do it. I don't know why he went for d2. Maybe it was a mouse slipper or something, but after like d2, I have c4, pawn takes, and now there is no way he can stop the h pawn. He's just not fast enough to sacrifice something on the g7 square. But again, as I said, then there is no way he could prevent rook promotion after he sacked his king and then his rook, his like best pieces. Okay, let's move further. Again, we have a4 by him. Yeah, this is just his typical opening, like, yeah, opening choice, basically. King a7, I wasn't really aware of what I should play here. And I decided to play knight f6, which turns out to be mate in 14 for him after king b6. Pawn takes, queen g4 here. Now we have d4, some really nice intermediate. Like rook g7, and yeah. But this should be fine. No, he has knight h3. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here after knight g4, he almost instantly played d4, which really shocked me because I I I bet he missed knight h2 and knight f1 after d4. I finished my take on a protected piece. I assume he only saw knight f2, bishop f4, knight h1, and now the difference is that my knight is free. It took his rook, which is unprotected. So after bishop d6, he takes a protected pawn. After I take, he has king f2, bishop d3, and yeah, a lot of stuff to sacrifice. But yeah, he really missed knight h2, I'm sure about that. And yeah, here I'm the one who takes first and he's the one who takes second, and now I'm free to keep sacking pieces and make him take them, you know. Yeah, and after like a couple more moves, I won the game. Alrighty guys, this is the very first game we played, and yeah, it's the last one I will analyze in this video respectively. So I opened up with e3, and here in Amsterdam 2 years ago when I was white, I opened with e3 again, and he played a5, and that's what I actually expected. But yeah, he played b5, and now he played the passive f6, which yeah might work against certain players, but yeah, it's it's hard because I really think that it's hard after black loses their king so early in the game, like on move 5. It's hard to play without a king because, like, as I already said in this video, the king is very important in the endgame. If you have many pawns, for example, but if you have your king, then you can play like some waiting moves, some free moves with the king, and just wait for your opponent to play something where you just test him and see what your opponent will play, you know. So yeah, here it shows mate in 10, which is kind of surprising because yeah, here I could see, I was really wondering what to play here. After 95, I spent like 50 seconds on this one. No, actually on c4, my bad. I spent like 50 seconds on c4. I was trying to figure it out what to play. Of course, I saw something like g3, but I didn't really want to have these double pawns here on the d file and also in the center. So I decided to play g4 with the hope of him taking with this knight, but he took with the other knight, which was the better option in my opinion, but Stockfish disagrees with me. Actually, it suggests that black should take with the bishop, which is interesting because after bishop takes f3 by white, I think knight f3 is totally fine. King f2, I assume. Yeah, king f2 is totally fine. But after g4, c4, and here I was really wondering what to do. I couldn't see a good move, if I have to be honest. And I played b3 so I could also stop queen a4 because I was also really concerned about this move. Yeah, but here it shows mate. Of course I could see all this fall up after b3, like knight takes on issue, rook takes, and now rook g8. But I couldn't really like see what black would play in this case. I thought about queen b5, but I really missed rook b8, which in this case would be winning for my opponent. Because after rook b3 happens, of course I can take his rook, which is unprotected piece, so I can eventually prolong the queen race, just make it longer. But the problem is that after rook b1, my next take is on a protected piece, and also like his rook, I just can take his rook right away with my rook, and now my rook ends up on this open b5, and also like I have my other rook on his back rank, where eventually I would just take everything. So yeah, but he missed that and he sacrificed his bishop on h3, which I think gains me a tempi. He doesn't have rook b8 anymore. Yeah, of course he has it, but I think I can afford to take his bishop now, because right now he lacks his bishop on c8, and respectively the b7 square is not controlled by it. So when he captures, I can capture, and even though I have my rook on the open b file again, there is no proper move. Of course, he can sacrifice queen b8, but after rook b8, I should be able to win this very easily, because he's left only with pawns, and I have a lot of like mobile pieces and like very like easy pieces to give against these pawns. So yeah, that's the difference after bishop h3. Yeah, here he played queen a4, which really helped me in my opinion, even though I get this double pawns on the a file. Yeah, c5, here e4, very like obvious, but I had 6 seconds, so I just tried to keep it solid in the center. Rook a b8, which turns out to be a big blunder, and it's made in 15 for me, even though Stockfish suggests the other rook on b8. And maybe from a human point of view in a bullet game it doesn't make any difference, I have to say. Yeah, I really don't know what difference it makes. But yeah, now knight g1, I just try to get rid of his rook, and also like just leave him with this awful bishop. It's stuck behind the pawns. And also like if black happens to play it on h6, then I have these pawns here on e3 and d2. So yeah, my opponent didn't sacrifice on h3, but went all the way back to a8, hiding the rook behind the pawn, but I could already see that my opponent is in a zugzwang, because there's too many pawns, and like the position is open and he has this awful bishop. So yeah, after e4, I have pinned his bishop with my rook on a1. So after e4, yeah, there was nothing he could do. Maybe just bishop f8 was the longest sequence where he could survive, but I can just sacrifice a lot of pieces here. I think knight b4, and now just king f2, I would say. It shows knight c3. Oh, yeah, actually I can sacrifice everything here on e1. I was really worried about bishop promo, but I forgot about my a5 pawn. Yeah, but if the pawn wasn't here, then it would be very bad to sacrifice my pieces like that and just keep my knight, which is like the worst piece you guys might have in an endgame, because it's like very slow. And yeah, I can see that also black promotes on a dark square, and I also have my knight on a dark square, so my next move with the knight is only on a white square. And like, if my pawn wasn't here after he promotes to a bishop, I'm pretty sure black would win this. But yeah, instead after e4 he didn't go for bishop f8, he pushed f5. Like, yeah, he decided just to take my rook on a1. And after knight f3 now I threaten a lot of stuff. Of course I have to move away my king and then sacrifice my knight. But the thing is that also his bishop is stuck here in the corner on a1. So yeah, here of course he had to play rook b8. So after I push a6, he could just sacrifice it. Of course, it's still losing, but at least we would play a couple of more moves. Yeah, here I was just trying to figure out how to place my knight better so I can sacrifice everything right away. My knight first and then my king. But yeah, here again he had to play rook b8, but instead he went for rook e8. I think he just became desperate. And yeah, after a6, a free move, he takes my king, and after knight e3, he takes my knight, and that's just game over. Alright guys, yeah, this was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed both the games while I played them, and also you enjoyed the analysis. I tried to be as elaborate as possible because I really think that we got some really unusual, really extraordinary positions where I had to, like, I felt responsible to share a lot of thoughts. So yeah, that's what I did. I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis. If that's the case, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna see you very soon. Bye guys, see you, take care.